because this is your paper here, dear. Don't look at that.
So there's a little bit of a lag.
I mean, there's always a little bit of a lag. Just pause this and have them test their chat to make sure.
Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, Thomas. I need your help.
It's going. You're live.
I can't see anything.
You don't want to watch yourself play back. Otherwise, you're going to be fixated on it, and you're not going to be able to do anything.
Okay.
You don't need to type. You can talk to them.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
Just test it.
Okay.
There,
it's working. Yeah, I knew it would be Sequoia and Emily that would be on here the most. Love, can I have the video up there so I can see to make sure that it's working? So this is this, right?
Yeah. It's not going to be good. It's a bad idea, but whatever.
Being told this is a bad idea. Okay, so I have a few students who are on, so I can start in a second. Okay. So is there a little? This is the paper, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then this is the video. They're seeing the cartoon of you in the back.
Yeah, that's unavoidable.
Yeah, we can see the paper. Wonderful, thank you, Sequoia. Okay, cool. Can I? Oh, what did I just do?
This is a touch screen, so don't touch the screen.
Okay. You go back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't touch the screen.
I will not. And where's the camera? So I can look at them.
It's down there.
Okay.
Right there.
We can see. Yes, that my husband set this up for me. Okay. And there's a cartoon of him. I don't know where to point. Right there. Okay. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep. They're saying it's all working. They can hear you fine.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah. They said we can see the paper. We can see both. Yeah. I have a few students who are on now, so I can get started.
Just text me if you need.
Thank you so much. Love you. Bye. Okay. I am going to try to look in the camera so you guys can see me. I am not as tech savvy as my husband is, but I think that this will probably work the best. So, okay, it is 11:18. I'm trying to see who's on. If you are on, if you could just comment. I see Emily and Sequoia and Olivia and Cassie. So that's awesome. And you can hear me. That's great. Yes, I did not set any of this up. So if there's something weird, I can see all the comments. If I'm doing something weird or like not looking in the right direction or something's confusing, tell me. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you guys are here live or if you're watching this video later, which the first one is just going to be silly because I don't know what I'm doing and I have to rely on my husband to set this stuff up. Right now we're using his channel. Eventually we're going to be using my channel, the one that's set up from Trinity. So if you guys are doing this live, I hope that you have your Bibles with you or a browser open with your Bible and your Ruth assignment that I gave you guys. We are going to be going over each of the questions that were on the assignment, and just like normal in class, you are then going to be taking notes. I've already looked over each of your assignments. You guys did a great job, especially for the very first thing that was submitted digitally to my class. That was really, really impressive, actually. And I already have those marked as on time. So after you are done watching this video or tuning in live and taking the notes and making the adjustments like we would in class, then you are going to resubmit that with the additional notes like normal so you can receive full credit, just like you would. And you will need it, obviously, for your test. We have no idea what that's going to look like, if that's going to be online or if that's going to be through or actually in person, but we'll take it as it comes. So I have this right here. What I'll need you guys to do is tell me if you can see what's on the paper, because this is basically the makeshift whiteboard, which is kind of funny. So I'm going to write this. Can you guys tell me if you can see that or if I need to write much bigger? And then I'm going to grab a piece of paper in case I need a Sharpie. So is that too small? I know there's a little bit of a lag, so. Right there. Okay. Olivia says she can see it. The writing is too light. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's what I figured. That Sharpie is not the best, but I'm assuming that is better. Yeah, okay. That is really helpful information. Thank you, guys. Cool. So that's what we got for now. Maybe in the future we'll move the camera closer, but this is our first one, so this is what we got going. Okay. So we're going to get started. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We'll go probably until noon. Right now, we're just going to be answering the questions that were on your assignment. In another video, which will not be a live stream, I will just be answering the questions that you guys asked on the very last question on this assignment. And then you guys can take notes on that. So here we go. Ruth is in the Old Testament. It is right after the book of Judges and right before the book of First Samuel. There are only 4 chapters in the book of Ruth. Normally I ask you guys that, but I didn't this time. We're going to use, this is my big old fatty Bible from college that I got. I'm just going to put it right here, if this is going to work. So Ruth right here starts at chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. And you can see chapter 4 seems a bit longer, but that's actually just because of all this notes that I have. If you have a Bible that has those notes, that can be really, really helpful. Otherwise, you guys did a great job on your own just looking up the answers. So first we are going to do number 1. When I'm looking over here, hope you can kind of still see me. There's a cartoon of me and my husband in the background that he drew. So there's that for your entertainment. So the first question, who was Ruth? Give a brief description of her, including her heritage, where she came from, where she lived, what her situation was, who she was a daughter of, and any other interesting facts that you may find. So you guys did a good job with that. So first, Ruth was a Moabite woman. She came from and lived in the city of Moab. She was not Jewish until she married her husband. And she married into this Israelite family. So it was her, her sister-in-law, who's not her actual sister, who was named Orpah. We can get to that in a minute. The family in Israel had left Israel during the time of a famine to try to find shelter and food in the land of Moab. And as they're there, and they have the Naomi, as we've been introduced that character, her husband Elimelech, they have 2 sons. There's different spellings of one of their sons. One of their sons' name is Mahlon. That's the way that I've heard it pronounced the best. Or Kilian or Chilian. Kilian is probably more correct, thinking of it being a Hebrew name, but it can be spelled. I'll just write this for you guys. Yes, Olivia, the video will be uploaded here after the live is over, so people who cannot join us will be able to see it. So there is one way of spelling his name. The other way, I normally use that one. So what kind of notes do you guys need to be taking? The ones that you don't already have. So I know, Sequoia, you have had a lot of information. Any information that you already had, you don't need to additionally write that down. But we're just going to be going through the questions one by one. So this first question is about who Ruth is, what her background is, things of that nature. There will be some overlap, as there already has been. I know the second question I asked you guys was about... or not second question. Oh, number 5. I asked about Ruth's husband's name and Ruth's mother-in-law. So there's going to be some overlap there. So do your best. And that's why it's helpful that it's a video. So you can go back and ask questions and look as well. So hopefully that helps with that. So yeah, again, she was not Jewish, but she did convert when she married her husband. Once the 2 boys and their father and their mother were there, it seems, if you look at the text, actually, that Elimelech died even before his boys were married. So it seems that Ruth did not know her father-in-law. So I'm actually going to grab the Bible right here. Just make sure that I'm actually looking what the text said. So I'm going to read this to you guys. This is, I think, is a NASB version. Yeah. So if you guys have your Bibles, you can read with me. But I'm actually just I was originally going to do this before I got started, but I got too ahead of myself. So I'm actually going to read all of the first chapter real quick. So now it came about in the days when the judges governed, and that actually answers one of the questions that we talked about. It was the time of the judges, that there was a famine in the land. So the land being Israel. And a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn to the land of Moab with his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife, Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Kilian. I'm not going to pronounce this word correctly. Ephrathites, actually that is correct. Ephrathites of Bethlehem and Judah. So that is just one of a subset of the tribe of Bethlehem and Judah. And that is just one of it's kind of like a family name in a sense. Now they entered the land of Moab and remained there. Then Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. Then they took, or it says they took for themselves Moabite women as wives, which implies that they did this after their father died. The name of the one was Orpah. So now, it is not Oprah. Interestingly enough, this is a weird fun fact. Apparently when Oprah Winfrey, who you're probably familiar with, was born, the story goes that her mother was trying to name her Orpah, but then they wrote it wrong on the birth certificate, so it was Oprah, which I think is kind of funny. But Orpah is how you spell it. So I'm going to write it here, even though it is in the text. Orpah. There you go. Awesome. All right. I'm going to keep going. I will try not to go as fast as normal. This is actually helpful for me, making me slow down. As you guys know in class, I tend to talk very quickly, but I am constantly looking at the side. Annalise. Yes. I'm looking at the side, as you can see, constantly seeing you guys' comments. So thank you for that. Okay. So her name was Orpah, and the name of the other was Ruth. And they lived there about 10 years. So you got to think for a second. Women were really young when they got married then, like generally between the ages of like 15 to 18 was like normal. If you were not married by the time you were 18 years old, it was like kind of weird. Annalisa, yes and no. You were writing some things. This is just for reference. So these are names, but you're taking notes on what I'm saying as well. Any specific terms I think that might need help with spelling or things to write out, I will write out here. So if you have a specific question of something that I said, then I can repeat myself. So anyways, it says that they were there for 10 years. So that means that they were married to their husbands for 10 years. 10 years is a good amount of time to be married. At the same time, they call her a young widow. And so odds are they were married between the ages of like 14 to 16. And so that means that they would have been widows when they were like 14 or 24, 25, 26, 27. Like that's still pretty young to have your husband die. So both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and the woman was bereft for 2 children and her husband. So, my husband just came in. Hello, hi.
Hi, just let's do.
What? What's happening? What are you doing?
Trying to get it in your. There you go.
Oh, but that looks
you're
weird.
centered.
That looks weird. Are you creeping on me in my live stream?
Maybe.
There you go. All right. You want to bring me coffee while you're at it? I love you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Okay, well, you just moved it back. Whatever.
Okay.
You're hopeless.
Okay. I'm hopeless, he says. Okay. I don't like that. I don't like the picture of myself there. Yeah, oh my goodness gracious. The category is gaming because this is one of my husband's gaming live streams. So that's why. And because mine wasn't working. But it is going to work the other days. So the M. Ryan or M. Coons Trinity High account, that will be the live stream from here on out. So this is one we had to do. We had to make shift with it. So yeah, I know. That is the actually fair question. Why is it gaming? It's not gaming. Okay. Keep going. Okay, so at this point, Naomi, and I'll write that name down too. She was Ruth's and Orpah's mother-in-law. Yes, we are still doing this tomorrow, and that is with Counterfeit Gods, so not with this. Okay, so she doesn't, her husband died first, then her sons have died, now she's left with her 2 daughter-in-laws. So, verse 6, it says, she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the land of Moab, for she had heard in the land of Moab that the Lord had visited his people, giving them food. So that means they're hanging out in Moab, they're living there because there was no food in Judah and in the whole land of Israel, and so they decide, we're going to go back. So they're originally from, I'll just write this here, from Judah, which obviously you know is a Hebrew nation, part of the whole Israelite community in general. Is Mahlon and Chilion Ruth's brothers or brother? Okay, so to clarify, let's see here. Okay, Mahlon. Okay, no, I should do this instead. Orpah, sister. Chilion is her husband. Mahlon is Ruth's husband. So hopefully that clarifies. So I think that answers your question. Okay. So they decide, okay, well, apparently there's food. There's really no reason for us to stay in Moab anymore because we're from Judah. So we're going to go back to Bethlehem. So Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, go and return each of you to your mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. So obviously the dead being her sons. May the Lord grant that you may find rest, each in the house of her husband. And so she's saying, hey, you know what? You're young. You should go back to your family. You do not need to stick with me. I'm going back to where I came from. I have nothing to offer you anymore. Go ahead and do that. So then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. So they're really sad. I mean, when you're living with your family and with your mother-in-law, that becomes your mother. These girls didn't have their mother anymore. They had Naomi. Naomi became their mother. They became a family together. And so they're very sad. So verse 10, and they said to her, "No, but we will surely return with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb that they may be your husbands?" I think that's kind of funny. Essentially, she's saying, am I pregnant right now that eventually when I give birth in 9 months, you can watch them grow up and then marry them? It's kind of weird, but again, because women at the time didn't really have a whole lot of rights unless they were married, and families did try to stick together because of things like loyalty and family. Those are some themes that we'll get to in a minute. She's saying, hey, even if I was pregnant right now, that would be crazy. Verse 12, "Return, my daughters, go, for I am too old to have a husband. If I said I have hope, if I should even have a husband tonight, and also bear sons, would you therefore wait until they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is harder for me than for you, for the hand of the Lord has gone forth against me." So she's saying, like, okay, my life is not going great. Why would I have these two young, wonderful women who are so faithful and loyal stay with me when I have nothing to give them? So she's a little bit having a pity party, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense because in her mind, she's thinking, no, it would be bad for them to come and stay with me. So verse 14, "And they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her." So it says Orpah kissed her mother-in-law. That means that she kissed her, and she left. She went back to her family in Moab, like distant relatives or whoever that would be. And verse 15, "Then she said, behold, your sister-in-law," she being Naomi, "behold, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or turn back from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus may the Lord do to me, and worse, if anything but death parts you and me." That line should maybe be familiar to some of you because there's like a worship song that says, "Where you go, I go." That's from right now. That's from this. That's from the book of Ruth. Sorry if that was really loud. Questions. How old do you think Naomi was because the marriage time was younger than Naomi? No idea. No clue. I could look it up and then I can tell you in another video, but that might be a quick Google search. Naomi, I don't know because we don't know how old Elimelech was. We don't know how old the boys are. Again, like those girls when they got married could have been 15 and their husbands could have been 10 years older, and that wouldn't be weird because age was not as much of a big deal then. It was about like life stage and family stage and things like that. Is Naomi Ruth's mom? Okay, Naomi is Ruth's mother-in-law. Who is Ruth's mother? We don't know. Some Moabite woman who is not mentioned at all. So when Naomi says go back to your family, that we don't know who that family is. It's just whoever she left behind in Moab when you get married and leave your family. So they weren't mentioned. Sorry, I'm adjusting. I'm sitting on my feet. We don't know who that is. They're just some people in Moab. So we don't know who her actual mother is, but her mother-in-law is Naomi. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay. Is it normal to... Yes, it was normal to marry very young like that because you wanted to have kids because truly, like, you know, they didn't have Medicare there. They didn't have retirement. The way that you were able to be taken care of at old age, and this was actually a command to the Hebrew nation, was to take care of your relatives. Families would often stick together. Even if they didn't live together, they would be in the same, like, community. They wouldn't travel very far. Not that it was very easy to travel very far at that time anyways. So it was normal to marry very young. It wasn't creepy. It wasn't weird. It was pretty normal for that. So yeah. Okay. Where did I leave off? Let me see if there's anything else. No. Okay. So verse 18. So that's Ruth's speech to Naomi. "No, I'm not leaving you. I'm staying with you. Don't tell me to leave again. I feel compelled by God to stay with you. That is what I'm going to do." And so she stays. So verse 18, "When she saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more to her." So she kind of shuts Naomi up and she's like, okay, fine. So verse 19, "So they both went until they came to Bethlehem. And when they had come to Bethlehem, all the city was stirred because of them. And the woman said, 'Is this Naomi?' She said to them, 'Do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has witnessed against me and the Almighty has afflicted me?'" So kind of look and see where that one is referenced. And so it says it will like tell you like what her name means or any significance that goes with that. So Naomi, what her original name means, which if I'm remembering correctly, I think means pleasantness or sweetness. And so she's saying, no, I do not want to be known as someone who is pleasant or sweet. My life has not been pleasant or sweet. Call me Mara, which actually means bitter. Yes.
I think you just went offline.
Oh, it
still
says,
online?
Is anyone else's lagging? Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, it's lagging.
You're still streaming.
Okay.
Type right here.
Okay.
Say figuring it out. Is our internet? Alright. It's green. I think this is. It's gonna kick
Reload it.
Well, that's gonna show this old stream.
Just skip ahead. Yeah, Sequoia.
Yeah,
the
or
girls
that-
who know how to do that.
Yeah, if you know, that's
Cool.
fine too. It's just if you don't know what you're doing, just refresh. She'll fix it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay. No, I don't know. Hey, love, can you bring up the other video? That was helpful for me.
Pause this.
It's working now. You're saying it works. Wonderful. Awesome. If you make coffee, can I have some?
It's in process.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much.
If it happens again, we'll just have to keep doing
Okay. Sorry, like we're trying to figure this stuff out, but it does work. I just really like the ability to do the live questions. So, okay, I think I answered the question that one of you guys had earlier. Did Ruth become Jewish when she married Mahlon, or later when she married? No, she became Jewish when she married Mahlon. They were a very Jewish family. It seems gosh, you guys did again such a good job with your homework, and one of you mentioned that Ruth actually came from a pagan family. That is true, or pagan background. That a lot of people in Moab were not even monotheistic. So I know I'm kind of skipping ahead here. Where's my pen? But this term, and this is something you will need to know. You probably do want to take notes on it. I think most of you guys know this, but to be monotheistic means that you believe in one God. Oops. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Sequoia. That's great. So that's different than being pantheistic, where there's more than one God. Monotheistic means, mono means one. One God. And so that would be weird for the people in Moab, where they're used to worshiping more than one God, like God of nature, God of different elements, kind of like if you've researched or studied or heard of any like Greek mythology or things like that. So, or sorry, I said pantheistic. That's actually not correct. It's polytheistic, which means many. Polytheistic. Okay, so she was introduced to a monotheistic religion and this faith, and these people who believed that God would be faithful to them. The wording that she used in the middle end of chapter 1, like scholars are saying, unless she was truly convinced that this is real, there's no way she would talk like that. She would use different language about like, your God and, not me, and I guess I'll just do this because her whole motivation is because of God. She's saying, your God is my God. I am staying with you. And may the Lord, the use of the word Lord actually in that, if you look in your Bible, it's like all caps. That's the translation for, and actually let me make sure I do this correctly. If I spell it correctly. It says reconnected.
Is it on? Is the stream on?